Good morning and welcome to News on the Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In the next 1 hour, we take stock of all the news and developments from India and across the world. Let's begin with the top stories. Monsoon session of Parliament to begin from today amid COVID protocols. 23 bills, 6 ordinances to be discussed in the session. In all-party meeting, Prime Minister Modi calls for healthy discussions and seeks cooperation of all parties. Government refutes allegations regarding surveillance in so-called Pegasus project. Media report calls it baseless, terms it a fishing expedition to malign the Indian democracy and its institutions that are committed to right to privacy of its citizens as a fundamental right. India administers 40.64 crore vaccine doses so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Over 38,000 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Recovery rate increases to 97.32%. Incessant rains throws parts of Mumbai out of gear. 31 people killed in 2 separate incidences as building collapses due to landslide. IMD predicts possibility of torrential rain in Mumbai and Konkan districts in the next 4 to 5 days. North India receives heavy rains. Karnataka government to conduct class 10th exams in offline mode from today. Over 8 lakh students appear for the exams. Relaxes COVID restrictions. Cinema halls, multiplex theatres can open with 50% occupancy. Schools to reopen in Chandigarh for classes 9th to 12th. Tamil Nadu extends ongoing lockdown till 31st of July. Nepal's Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba wins the crucial vote of confidence in Parliament days after Supreme Court ousted his predecessor KP Sharma Oli. Prime Minister Modi congratulates the new Nepalese PM, says looking forward to strengthen our deep-rooted people-to-people ties. The British government lifts pandemic restrictions on daily life in England, scraps social distancing norms. Scientists and opposition parties slam it as a dangerous leap into the unknown. And in sports, Shikhar Dhawan led India defeats Sri Lanka by 7 wickets in the first ODI. Skipper scores unbeaten 86 to reach the target of 263 in just 36 overs. The monsoon session of Parliament begins today. The session will have 19 sittings of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The timings of session will be from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. for both the houses. During the 19 days of proceedings, 29 bills, including 6 bills replacing ordinances, are likely to be discussed and passed. Monsoon session of Parliament will conclude on 13th of August. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for healthy discussion and seeks cooperation of all parties. Abdul Wahab, member of Rajya Sabha, will take oath on the first day of the monsoon session. He has been elected from Kerala. Tributes will be paid to the great legend and India's flying jet Milkha Singh. Tributes will also be paid to 2 sitting members of Parliament and 10 former members of Parliament. Marine Aids to Navigation Bill 2021 will be moved for consideration and passage in the House by Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal. In Lok Sabha, bills for consideration and passing include the Factoring Regulation Amendment Bill 2020 will be moved by Union Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to amend the Factoring Regulation Act 2011 to be taken into consideration. Another important bill, National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management Bill 2021 to be moved by Union Minister Pashupati Kumar Paras. The government has refuted the allegations regarding surveillance in so-called Pegasus project. Media report. Calling it baseless, government has stated that the report has no concrete basis or truth associated with it whatsoever. It is a fishing expedition to malign the Indian democracy and its institutions that are committed to right to privacy of its citizens as a fundamental right. The news report also indicates poorly conducted research and lack of due diligence by esteemed media organizations involved. And India continues to see decline in COVID-19 cases. The country has registered 40.64 crore vaccine doses that have been administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Over 3.03 crore recoveries have been recorded so far across the country, of which over 38,660 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours. And with this, the recovery rate has increased to 97.32%. 38,164 daily new cases in the last 24 hours. India's caseload now has declined to 4,21,665. And weekly positivity rate continues to remain below 5% and currently stands at 2.08%. Daily positivity rate currently stands at 2.61%, which is less than 3% now for some 28 consecutive days. Testing capacity has been substantially ramped up with 44.54 crore tests conducted so far. Now, in the wake of the farmers' protests at the Parliament, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation has directed authorities to put 7 metro stations on alert for today. The 7 metro stations are Janpath, Lok Kalyan Marg, Patel Chowk, Rajiv Chowk, Central Secretariat, Mandi House and Udyog Bhavan. Metro Police has also asked the New Delhi District Police to keep a special vigil at the nearby stations besides the 7 mentioned. Meanwhile, schools in Chandigarh will reopen for classes 9th to 12th from today onwards. Union Territory Administration has decided to open schools physically only from classes 9th to 12th. That too subject to parents' consent. The reopening is subject to parents' consent for sending their wards to the schools. However, online mode of teaching will continue. And the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir has allowed higher education institutions and skill development centers to consider phased reopening for on-site learning after July 31st, subject to vaccination status of the students and staff. As per the order, public and private educational institutions have also been permitted to seek personal attendance of limited vaccinated staff for administrative purposes. The order was issued after detailed review of the current COVID situation in the Union Territory on July 16th. Meanwhile, 146 new COVID positive cases were reported yesterday, thereby taking the total number of positive cases in Jammu and Kashmir to 3,19,901. And the extension of the ongoing lockdown in Tamil Nadu due to COVID-19 pandemic comes into effect from today till July 31st with some new relaxations. State government announced that industrial training institutions, industrial schools, typewriting, shorthand training centers can function at 50% capacity from today. School teachers will be permitted to carry out activities such as admissions, book distributions, preparing curriculum and related official work and activities. Despite the daily new cases hovering around the 2,500 mark, Tamil Nadu government is exercising abundant precautions by not throwing open entertainment and recreation venues just as yet. And Goa government on Sunday extended the corona-induced state-level curfew by another week till July 26th. Chief Minister Pramod Sawant in a message said the state-level curfew order will be extended up to 7 a.m. 26th of July 2021 with the same restrictions and relaxations. According to the state government orders, relaxations will allow opening of bars and restaurants with 50% capacity, while religious places with up to 15 people. The curfew was initially imposed on May 9th and is being renewed multiple times with some relaxations as the number of COVID-19 cases have dropped in the state. Some update from Maharashtra as well. As far as COVID numbers are concerned, 9,000 new cases have been reported on Sunday in Maharashtra. 5,756 patients were discharged in a single day. 59,80,350 COVID patients were discharged after full recovery. The recovery rate in Maharashtra stands at 96.24%. 180 COVID-19 fresh casualties were also reported. case fatality rate in the state is at 2.04%. Currently, 5,67,585 people are in home quarantine and over 4,000 people are in institutional quarantine. From Maharashtra to Karnataka, Karnataka government is conducting class 10th exams in offline mode from today as the government decides the grade 4 unlock. Over 8 lakh students are appearing for these exams. Board exam for class 10th is taking place till July 21st. It is an objective type exams with MCQs, multiple choice questions. And besides, the state government has also relaxed COVID restrictions from today. Cinema halls, multiplexes, theatres now can open with 50% occupancy. However, all educational institutions, tutorial centres, colleges will continue to remain shut until further orders. The weekend curfew also dropped from this week. The night curfew will, however, continue to be in place from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. across the state. Public transport will be allowed to operate up to their seating capacity. Access to swimming pools has been granted for training purposes only with strict adherence to COVID safety protocols. Sports complexes, stadiums will be allowed to open for training purposes. No spectators will be allowed, however. State has now capped the number of guests at wedding to 100 and those attending funerals to 20 with full compliance with COVID norms. Places of worship have now been allowed to open to devotees for only darshan. And my colleague Aisha Khanum is joining us from Karnataka with more updates on the situation there. Aisha, good morning. A number of relaxations taking place in Karnataka from board exams to sports complexes to much more. Take us through the preparations at place for that.
Well, Suvendu, today the Karnataka government announced the Unlock 4, but the fact that the government has been preparing for the Class 10 exams has been happening from past 3-4 months. The government took this as a challenge because previously, last year, the government conducted the exams when the positivity rate was over 17%. And today in Karnataka, the positivity rate is only around 1.7%. So in this situation, the government managed to conduct these board exams, whereas the several other states, the neighboring states, have not been able to conduct exams and they have promoted the students. But here in Karnataka, it was a huge challenge for the Karnataka government. In fact, it is an exam for the Karnataka government and the education minister, who has made excellent arrangements for the students here at one of the examination centers. Over 8 lakh students are appearing for exams, and the interesting aspect is that about 1.6 lakh staff, the people who will be supervising these exams, are all vaccinated. So all safety precautions, all arrangements have been made, and just now the Minister for Education informed us that over 35 students are positive and they have been allowed to write exams in the nearby COVID care centers in the areas they live in. So this is a number across the state. 35 students today writing the class 10 board exams, and these students are positive and special arrangements have been made for them. So you can understand the fact that class 10 is a very important phase in the life of a student as they move out to the higher education, to the pre-university classes. And government says that it was important to hold this exam amidst this pandemic. And this and to reduce the students' stress and anxiety, the government has decided to conduct only multiple choice format of examinations, wherein students need not write lengthy answers. They only have to select the right answer and tick mark the multiple choice in the question paper. So for the students also it is equally challenging. Many students were anxious and they feel that they are relieved and relaxed that the papers today they are attempting will be very short multiple type question papers. And also the government has imposed section 144 across all the examination centers within the vicinity of about 100 meters radius. So for the students, their safety, and for the students coming to the examination, all steps are being taken here. You can see behind me, this is one such tent wherein students who show any symptoms, who are reporting any temperature beyond the normal, will be isolated and they will be made to sit in another hall where they can write the exam. This kind of arrangements I see here across all the examination centers, and Karnataka government really deserves congratulations in showing this bold step in conducting the exams during the pandemic with all safety precautions in place, and moreover the students are more satisfied about the arrangement and the question paper format.
Right. Aisha, thanks very much for joining us with those inputs from Bengaluru. And some updates on the weather front from Mumbai. Moderate to intense spells of rainfall witnessed over Mumbai, Palghar, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg in the last few hours. Intense to very intense spells of rainfall was also seen in Thane and Raigad. IMT predicts possibility of torrential rain in Mumbai and Konkan districts in the next 4 to 5 days. The Met Department also forecast moderate to heavy thundershowers in city and suburbs with possibility of very heavy to extremely heavy rainfall at isolated places. Meanwhile, BMC has asked Mumbai residents to boil drinking water before drinking after flooding of the water purification plant at Bandu due to heavy rains affected the pumping and filtration equipment. And over 31 people have been killed in separate incidences of landslides in Mumbai. Heavy rainfall overnight disrupted normal life in Mumbai. 21 people were dead in Chembur landslide incident. 10 were killed in Vikhroli-Hatman collapse incident. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray chaired a meeting on Sunday with officials over the situation. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has announced an ex gratia of ₹5 lakh for the kin of each of the victims. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi announced ex gratia of ₹2 lakh each from Prime Minister's Relief Fund to the next of kin of those who lost their lives due to the wall collapse in Mumbai. ₹50,000 would be given to those injured in these incidents. And 8 persons were killed after the car that they were travelling in fell into a gorge in Nandarbar district of North Maharashtra. Today, the incident occurred. This was yesterday near Dadgaon in the district around 450 kilometers from Mumbai. Prime Minister Modi, calling it a tragic incident, has expressed condolences to those who've lost their loved ones in an accident. He also prayed for the injured. Ex gratia of ₹2 lakh each from PM Relief Fund would be given to the next of kin of the deceased. ₹50,000 would be given to the injured. And for more updates on the rain hit Mumbai, my colleague Shama Mishra is joining us with more updates. Shama, take us through the weather updates. Some serious casualties have taken place in the rain-induced incidents in Maharashtra, Mumbai in particular.
Well, yes, Shubhendu, we did see that after the heavy and continuous rains that lashed Mumbai on Saturday evening, more than 30 casualties have been reported from various rain-related incidents, and the operations for search and rescue has been concluded yesterday only of Chembur and Vikhroli. So today we are seeing that more of the administration is now aware, because yesterday Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, he held a meeting with all the district, with all the people who are related to various districts or district administration, and BMC was also involved, police was also involved, so that any untoward incident should not be, it should be averted, and that is why people should be, the administration should be alert on that particular fact. The people or the areas where landslides could happen, the areas which has the high voltage towers, electricity towers, and the areas which has more of dilapidated buildings, that should be actually looked into, and if need be, people should be, the locals should be, taken out from there, and they should be transferred to some other place if need arises, so that to avoid any loss of life over here. So Chief Minister has alerted and directed these orders. Apart from that, we are also seeing that Bandu pumping station, which gives water to Mumbai, the filtered water, that also received waterlogging issues yesterday, and after that the entire pumping station was shut down for a while. The pumping process did start running, but the filtration process will take time. So the BMC has issued people a kind of urge, a request that they should be boiling water for coming few days, so that there could be no waterborne diseases in the coming days. Apart from that, we are also seeing that the orange alert has been issued till 22nd of July for various parts of Maharashtra, and we are also seeing the red alert has been issued for various parts of Maharashtra, including Thane, Navi Mumbai, Raigarh, Ratnagiri. So the Konkan coast has been issued red alert. So Mumbaikars and the administration they need to be on alert so that for the next 3 to 4 days there could be heavy to very heavy rainfall. Apart from that, we are also seeing that that the rains that had lashed Mumbai on Saturday, that kind of rain is not happening, but the rains are continuous, be it only for a while, but the parts around Mumbai, that is receiving heavy rainfall. So people need to be on alert, and the district administration or various other, we could say the administration, they need to be on alert. Shivendu.
Right there, Shama, thanks very much for getting us those latest updates from Mumbai. Let's move on to our next story. Delhi rains made a good comeback in the national capital, with showers on the heavier side today. Not only national capital, also the NCR region witnessed heavy rainfall. Rainwater, however, inundated roads at many places across Delhi NCR. Rain activities are expected to continue in Delhi and adjoining areas for the next 2 to 3 days. Met Department has predicted thunderstorms with light to moderate intensity rains over and adjoining areas, most places of Delhi NCR, including Bahadurgarh, Gurugram, Manesar, Ballabgarh, Noida, Faridabad, Ghaziabad, besides some other areas. With this, Delhi's maximum settled at 32 degrees Celsius, while the minimum temperatures was recorded at 25 degrees Celsius. Delhi's Palam area received some 4 centimeter rainfall. In Gurugram, several people are fear trapped after a 3-story building collapsed in Khawaspur village yesterday evening. One dead body was pulled out from the rubble during the rescue operations, while one person was rescued and is being treated at a hospital. Fire brigade, police department are still present at the spot and are undertaking the rescue operation. The structure was located on the premises of Cargo Deluxe Company and served as a residence for its employees. Meanwhile, in Uttarakhand, at least 3 people have died and 4 others are missing following a cloudburst in Mando village of Uttarkashi district this morning. A rescue operation is being carried out by the local authorities and State Disaster Response Force. The Met Department has predicted widespread rainfall and isolated heavy to very heavy rains over the western Himalayan region, including Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, adjoining northwest India, including Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, North Madhya Pradesh from July 18 to 21st. Earlier on Sunday, water levels of Ganga, Yamuna and their tributaries in Uttarakhand rose following incessant rains. A constant vigil on them was being maintained by the State Emergency Operations Centre in Dehradun. In some other news, top Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorist Ishfaq Dar, also known as Abu Akram, was among 2 terrorists killed in Siddiq Khan area of South Kashmir, Shopia in the wee hours today. According to the IGP Kashmir, Ishfaq Dar was active since 2017. He has congratulated J&K police and security forces for the successful operation. The operation was carried out by a joint team of police armies 34RR and CRPF after having specific information about the presence of some militants in the area. Now, in view of prevailing COVID-19 pandemic, admission process in central universities during the academic session 2021-22 may continue as per past practice. UGC said that Central University's common entrance examination can be implemented from academic session 2022-23. Earlier on Saturday, UGC instructed all universities and colleges to start classes for fresh undergraduate and postgraduate students latest by 1st October. Higher education institutions will start admission process once school boards, including Central Board of Secondary Education, announce their results by 31st of July. In a circular, UGC asked institutions to complete admission process for undergraduate and postgraduate programs via online, offline, blended mode, depending on the ground situation with regard to the pandemic in various parts of the country. The deadline for completing fresh admissions has been kept at 30th September. Let's now take a look at the updated figures as far as global COVID figures are concerned. As many as 19 crore 12 lakh people worldwide so far have tested positive for COVID, while the number of recoveries stand at over 17 crore 41 lakh. The deadly virus has till now claimed lives of over 41 lakh 5,000 live people globally. US continues to remain the worst affected country by the disease. As many as 3 crore 49 lakh people in the country have been infected by COVID-19 so far. The virus has claimed lives of more than 6 lakh 24,000 people in the United States. In Britain, there will be no limits from today on how many people can meet or attend events. Nightclubs can reopen. Table service will not be necessary at pubs and restaurants. Face coverings will be recommended in some spaces but not required by law. Ahead of lifting of restrictions, and meanwhile we get some live updates. We take you to the Parliament. Monsoon session of Parliament is about to begin in a short while from now. Those visuals coming in live from the Parliament. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his entourage are reaching the Parliament premises. Monsoon session of Parliament begins today. The session will have 19 sittings of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The timing of the session will be from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. for both the houses. Those visuals coming in live from the Parliament premises. And Prime Minister is about to reach Parliament premises, and his parliamentary colleagues there in attendance, waiting for Prime Minister to arrive. Those visuals coming in live from the Parliament. And rains this morning had started in Delhi and NCR region. In the visuals you can see the ministers and the members holding umbrella at the Parliament premises. And there Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also reached the Parliament premises as the monsoon session is all set to begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi being welcomed by his party colleagues at the Parliament, his cabinet colleagues, and is able to
साथियों, आप सबका स्वागत है। और मैं आशा करता हूं कि आप सबका वैक्सीन का कम से कम एक डोज लग गया होगा, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी मेरी आप सब मित्रों से प्रार्थना भी है, सदन में भी सभी साथियों से प्रार्थना है कि हम सब कोरोना प्रोटोकॉल का पालन करने में सहयोग दें। अब ये वैक्सीन जो है बाहु पर लगती है, और जब वैक्सीन बाहु पर लगती है तो आप बाहुबली बन जाते हैं, और कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ने के लिए बाहुबली बनने का एक ही उपाय है कि आपके बाहु पर वैक्सीन लगवा दीजिए। अब तक 40 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोग कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में बाहुबली बन चुके हैं। आगे भी बहुत तेज गति से इस काम को आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है। ये पैंडेमिक ऐसी महामारी है जो पूरे विश्व को अपनी चपेट में लिया हुआ है, पूरी मानव जात को अपनी चपेट में लिया हुआ है। और इसलिए हम चाहते हैं कि संसद में भी इस पैंडेमिक के संबंध में सार्थक चर्चा हो, सबसे प्राथमिकता देते हुए इसकी चर्चा हो और सारे व्यवहारू सुझाव सभी माननीय सांसदों से मिले ताकि पैंडेमिक के खिलाफ लड़ाई में बहुत नयापन भी आ सकता है, कुछ कमियां रह गई हो तो उसको भी ठीक किया जा सकता है और इस लड़ाई में सब साथ मिलकर के आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। मैंने सभी फ्लोर लीडर से भी आग्रह किया है कि अगर कल शाम को वे समय निकाले तो पैंडेमिक के संबंध में सारी विस्तृत जानकारी उनको भी मैं देना चाहता हूं। तो हम सदन में भी चर्चा चाहते हैं और सदन के बाहर भी सभी फ्लोर लीडर से, क्योंकि लगातार मैं मुख्यमंत्रियों से मिल रहा हूं, अलग अलग फोरम में सब प्रकार की चर्चा हो रही है, तो फ्लोर लीडर से भी मैं चाहता हूं कि सदन चल रहा है तो एक सुविधाजनक होगा तो रूबरू मिलकर के उसकी बात होगी। साथियों, ये सदन परिणामकारी हो, सार्थक चर्चा के लिए समर्पित हो, देश की जनता जो जवाब चाहती है वो जवाब सरकार को देने की पूरी तैयारी है। मैं सभी माननीय सांसदों से, सभी राजनीतिक दलों से आग्रह करूंगा कि वो तीखे से तीखे सवाल पूछें, धारदार सवाल पूछें, लेकिन शांत वातावरण में सरकार को जवाब का मौका भी दें ताकि जनता जनार्दन के पास सत्य पहुंचाने से लोकतंत्र को भी ताकत मिलती है, जनता का भी विश्वास बढ़ता है और देश की गति भी तेज होती है प्रगति की। साथियों, ये सत्र अंदर की व्यवस्था पहले की तरह नहीं है, सब साथ बैठ करके काम करने वाले, क्योंकि करीब करीब सबका वैक्सीनेशन हो चुका है। मैं फिर एक बार आप सभी साथियों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं और आपसे भी आग्रह करता हूं, आप खुद को संभालिए और हम सब मिलकर के देश की आशा आकांक्षाओं को पार करने के लिए साथ मिलकर प्रयास करें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद साथियों।
And there, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressing the media ahead of the monsoon session of Parliament that begins today. In his address, Prime Minister highlighted that all issues are open for discussion with all the member of parliaments. His particular emphasis was on following COVID-appropriate behavior and boosting the vaccination drive that has been on already. And we're heading for a short break in News on the Hour. Lots more coming up. Do stay with us.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now. With the world's largest COVID vaccination drive, India is leading the way as the vaccine reaches every corner of the nation. do not forget the mantra, Dawai bhi, Kadai bhi. Let's continue our fight against COVID-19. Vaccination along with social distancing, sanitization and masks.
Mask up, India!
Put your mask on and cover your nose and be safe.
Mask up, India.
Welcome back. You're watching News on the Hour. Let's continue to track some international news and updates. In Britain, there will be no limits from today on how many people can meet or attend events. Nightclubs can reopen. Table service will not be necessary in pubs and restaurants. Face coverings will be recommended in some spaces but not required by law. Ahead of lifting of restrictions, Prime Minister UK Boris Johnson urged caution, said they must self-isolate when told to do so. Some scientists are predicting that UK infections that are currently at about 50,000 a day could reach 200,000 a day later in the summer. But with more than 68% of the UK adults fully vaccinated, modelling suggests hospital admissions, serious illness, deaths from COVID-19 will be at a lower level than in the earlier peaks.
This virus is sadly still out there. Cases are rising. You can see the extreme contagiousness of the Delta variant, but we have this immense consolation and satisfaction that there is no doubt at all that the vaccine program, the massive vaccination program, has very severely weakened the link between infection and hospitalization and between infection and serious illness and death. And that is the vital thing. So please, please, please be cautious. Go forward tomorrow into the next step with all the right prudence and respect for other people and the risks that the disease continues to present. And above all, please, 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 when you're asked to get that second jab and get your jab, please come forward and do it.
In Russia, Moscovites welcomed the easing of COVID-19 restrictions, including cancellation of QR code requirements for sitting at restaurants and hotels. Moscow government's decree providing relaxations came into effect from Monday, 3 weeks after being imposed to curb the surge in the cases. The country has reported over 59,58,000 cases of COVID-19, with fatalities crossing 1,48,000. And in Vietnam, the government has announced COVID-19 restrictions banning movement of people in 16 southern provinces for a couple of weeks starting from Monday. The country's Civil Aviation Authority has also ordered domestic airlines to suspend flights to and from southern parts until August 1st. Vietnam has managed to keep coronavirus cases relatively low due to targeted mass testing and strict contact tracing, border controls and quarantine measures. However, the country has been witnessing a burst outbreak of the disease, with a number of cases rising above 53,800. In Saudi Arabia, pilgrims vaccinated against COVID-19 gathered for the annual Hajj pilgrimage this year. Around 60,000 residents of Saudi Arabia perform the rite, a once-in-a-lifetime duty for every able-bodied Muslim who can afford it. The annual pilgrimage is underway with full COVID-19 preventive measures at place. The Hajj Authority has been using robots to disinfect the Grand Mosque in Mecca. Thermal cameras at entrances to the mosque monitor people's temperatures. Around 3,000 electric carts have been provided for pilgrims who also wear electronic identification bracelets connected to GPS. The authority had allowed only vaccinated individuals, that too only residents of Saudi Arabia, to carry out the pilgrimage. The decision was taken in the wake of COVID pandemic ravaging across the world. In Thailand, police fired water cannon, tear gas, rubber bullets on Sunday to stop protesters from marching on the office of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, calling for him to resign. Over 1,000 protesters took part in the demonstration despite an expanded COVID lockdown. Demonstrators carried out mock body bags to represent coronavirus deaths as they blamed the Prime Minister and his government for mismanaging COVID-19 pandemic. The protest marked 1 year since the first wave of the large-scale street protest led by youth groups that attracted hundreds of thousands of people across the country. Thailand reported 11,397 infections and 101 casualties on Sunday, bringing the cumulative total to 4,03,386 cases and 3,349 fatalities. The country is witnessing rise in cases fueled by highly transmissible Alpha and Delta COVID variants. Some other stories now. Flash floods hit parts of Germany, killing at least one person and adding to the devastation after flooding in the country this week. German Chancellor Angela Merkel expressed shock at what she described as surreal destruction caused by last week's flooding. Merkel visited affected areas of Western Germany on Sunday, talking to survivors and emergency workers. She promised swift financial aid to deal with the country's worst natural disaster in almost 6 decades. At least 188 people in Germany and Belgium are now known to have died in the floods. Heavy rain is continuing to wreak havoc, with attention now shifting to parts of Austria and southern Germany. Entire communities have been cut off without power or communications. Scientists have long said that climate change will lead to heavier downpours, but determining its role in these relentless rainfalls will take at least several weeks of research.
It's terrifying. I would say there's no word in the German language to describe this devastation. However, what I have witnessed and what is incredible comforting is how people are sticking together, how they are helping each other, the solidarity among people. We stand by our side. The federal government and the state will act together to bring the world back to how it was in this beautiful area, step by step. And that means that we have to act quickly in short term, but also that recovery will take a long time.
And talking about extreme weather conditions, from heavy rains to wildfires are being witnessed worldwide. In the US, evacuations continue in California-Nevada border as the Tamarack fire engulfs the region. As per US Forest Service, the fires have destroyed over 21,000 acres of almost 33 square miles of land area. Firefighters sprayed retardants to coat vegetation to stop the spread of the flames. As per the National Intra-Agency Fire Center in Boise, over 70 fires are actively burning more than 1 million acres across 12 states of the country. Officials say fire is believed to have started from a lightning strike on July 4th near Marqueville in Humboldt-Doiby National Forest. Scientists have attributed prolonged drought and increasing bouts of excessive heat as cause of growing frequency and intensity of wildfires. And smoke clouds choked over the Russian Republic of Yakutia as at least 22 new wildfires engulfed an area of 4,500 hectares in the region. The blazes spread rapidly due to powerful and unpredictable gusts of wind. In Yakutsk, the mayor advised people to stay at home and not open windows as the region witnesses worse smoke. Meanwhile, Russian military helicopters flew in firefighters earlier this week to battle the Siberian wildfires that raged across some 800,000 hectares. Smoke from 187 forest fires is currently covering 51 residential areas in Siberian Yakutia region. This is including its main city of Yakutsk. More than 2,200 firefighters are working in the area. Fire tear through Russian forest land every year, but they have become more intense due to unusually high temperatures across northern Siberian tundra region. Iran's chief nuclear negotiator has said the next round of talks in Vienna must wait until the new Iranian administration takes office in early August. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Twitter that the country is in transition period as a democratic transfer of power is underway in the capital Tehran. Indirect US-Iranian talks on reviving the 2015 deal have been on hold since the last round ended on June 20th, and Iran has made it clear it is not ready to resume before President-elect Ibrahim Raisi takes over. In a message, Araghchi also said United States and Britain need to stop linking exchange of prisoners with the nuclear deal. The US State Department has said that Araghchi's tweets were an outrageous effort to deflect blame for current impasse, and that the comments on Americans held by Tehran was a cruel effort to raise families' hopes. Iran is currently holding a handful of Iranian Americans. Some update from South Africa. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa joined a cleanup on Sunday, sweeping away rubble and trash after rioting resulted in significant damage to the city. The rioting broke out in past week in response to jailing of ex-President Jacob Zuma for his failure to appear at a corruption inquiry. It swiftly degenerated into looting and destruction driven by widespread anger over hardship and inequality that nearly 3 decades of democracy since the end of apartheid have failed to address. The military has called up all its reserves to bolster the army and police who have struggled to contain the unrest.
We were infiltrated. There were people who came in, this invisible enemy that we are fighting, which we must continue to fight and defeat. And I can say we are going to defeat them, because they are not equal to the strength that we have in relation to young people like you, our government, our security forces, and the people of Soweto and the people of South Africa.
Haiti's First Lady Martine Moïse has returned to the country following the assassination of her husband, President Jovenel Moïse. President Moïse was shot dead when assassins armed with assault rifles stormed his private residence in the hills above Port-au-Prince on July 7th. First Lady was injured during the attack. Jovenel Moïse's assassination stoked fears of spiraling chaos in the Western Hemisphere's poorest nation. It has also triggered an international manhunt for the gunman and alleged masterminds across the Americas region. So far, 18 of the 26 Colombians suspected of playing a role in the attack have been detained, while they were killed by police, and 5 are still on the run. Police have also arrested 2 Haitian Americans and another Haitian thought to be the brains behind this operation. Amid violence gripping Afghanistan, Turkey has detained 133 undocumented migrants in just a couple of days near its southern border with Iran. As per officials of Turkey's Interior Ministry, majority of detained migrants hail from Afghanistan. Authorities have detained 73 Afghans in eastern province of Van, while another 60 migrants, of whom 59 were Afghans, were detained in Van's Eresis district. Concerns over potential new influx of migrants into Turkey from Afghanistan have grown in the recent weeks as violence between the Afghan government and Taliban has surged as US and NATO forces withdraw. And in sports, India defeated Sri Lanka by 7 wickets in the first one-day international and took a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series on Sunday. Skipper Shikhar Dhawan scored unbeaten 86 to reach target of 263 in just 36 overs. Chasing 262, India completed the task with 80 balls to spare at R. Premadasa Stadium. Opener Prithvi Shaw smashed 43 of 24 balls, while debutant Ishan Kishan hit a blistering 59 in just 42 deliveries to power India to the win. Earlier, Sri Lanka scored 262 for 9 after opting to bat first. Batting at number 8, Chamika Karunaratne top scored with 43 runs off 35 balls. Indian bowlers never allowed the Sri Lankans to settle down and play a big innings at the Premadasa Stadium in the first of the 6 limited overs matches, including the 3 T20 internationals after the ODI rubble. Slovenian cyclist Tadej Pogacar won the Tour de France for a second straight year after mostly ceremonial final stage to the Champs-Élysées on Sunday in cycling's biggest race. The Slovenian rider with UAE team Emirates successfully defended his huge lead of 5 minutes 20 seconds over second place Jonas Wingard. 22-year-old Pogacar won his first title last September when he became the Tour's youngest champion in 116 years. He is now the youngest double winner of the race. Tokyo Olympics organizers on Sunday reported 3 new cases of COVID-19 infections among athletes as the population of the athletes village swell ahead of the start of the pandemic-hit games next week. Organizers reported 10 new cases connected to the Olympics, including media, contractors and other personnel. That compares with 15 new cases on Saturday. That includes personnel, the first case of infection at the athletes village. International Olympic Committee's Olympic Games Executive Director Christophe Thibault yesterday asserted that there is no such thing as zero risk, but extreme care and limitations are being enforced to curb the spread of virus. The infection rates are climbing among the general population of the capital, topping 1,000 new cases for 4 consecutive days.
The mingling and crossing of population is incredibly limited. And we can ensure that transmission between the various groups is almost impossible. I'm qualifying almost.
And the Olympic Games lanes came into operation in host city Tokyo on Monday, just 5 days before the official opening. Tokyo has imposed road traffic restrictions to designate reserved lanes for Olympic officials, athletes and journalists traveling between sites. Transport authorities have also hiked toll charges by 1,000 yen for private vehicles using the network of elevated expressways that snake through the city in a bid to reduce traffic during the Games. Tokyo Olympics run from July 23rd to August 8th. And Japan's historic 2011 tsunami hit Okawa Elementary School has opened for public as memorial during a ceremony held in the city of Ishimaki. The school exhibits remnants of the deadly tsunami and earthquake that claimed 84 students' lives and teachers. Bereaved families and city officials offered silent prayers, laid flowers during the ceremony. Visitors can view the entire 2-story school building from the yard. The distorted connection corridor and exposed reinforcing bars display the power of the tsunami. The city also built a museum to exhibit related items, including a cycle and a clock. And Shanghai Astronomy Museum in China has now opened for visitors. The museum, largest of its kind in the world, is solely dedicated to the study of astronomy. Located in the scenic area of the Dishui Lake of Shanghai's Lingang New Area, the museum covers an area of around 58,000 square meters with a construction area of around 38,000 square meters. It is intended to create an immersive experience for visitors to engage in a real astronomical phenomenon. And with that, we conclude this edition of News on the Hour. News and updates continue after a short break. Namaskar.